So again, I apologize for the glare. If there is a glare, lighting in my room is terrible. But so I want to pose a question, but first I'm going to explain where I got this idea. So in Campbell's book on page 71, one of the tips that Campbell gives, it says to tell your story, and not just the PR story that's like super polished and perfected, but to tell your story. Give your audience, your users, your customers a like personal look and into who you are, into who your company is, into everything. And it does say that you should tell the story that you're comfortable with, only share what you want to share. And I guess my question here is, how do you determine where the line is drawn between what you're comfortable sharing with your audience versus what you don't think is appropriate? And I'm interested in this because, as I've mentioned before, I am a teacher, and it is very much understood that there are certain things that we cannot share with our students or even with our coworkers. There are things that we just don't go to work and talk about. And these things are very like ingrained in us. When I was in undergrad, they told us a bunch of things that we couldn't do or couldn't share or we couldn't have on like our Facebook pages. So we were fed this idea that we can't say or talk about certain things. And over the years that I've been teaching, I have broken those norms, those lines, those rules, because sometimes you just get really close to a student in like a friendship, mentorship kind of way. And I personally believe that if a student is meant to take you seriously, they need to know that you're a person and not just a teacher. So I do tend to maybe overshare sometimes. And I don't think that a lot of my older coworkers do. I'm just a younger, not young, but like younger teacher. And I do think that that affects how much I let of myself into the job. Anyway, the point here is because when you're in this field in education, you are told where to draw the line. And if you cross that line out of your own volition, that's just you doing it. But if you create your own career and you're creating your own business and you're creating your own rules, how do you determine what it is appropriate to share versus what's not? How do you draw that line? Where do you begin to consider to draw that line? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are, and I can't wait to read them.